It's a great feeling to know that, yes, we smashed the quarterfinal.
Good morning. This is the brief that we got from Artlist.
You need to create a video which is 45 seconds to 1 minute in length and only use Artlist music and sound effects. The videos will be judged by creativity, storytelling, and technical ability.
So that's the structure that I'll adopt in describing my creative process. We'll talk about creativity, storytelling, and then technical ability. This is the timeline that I ended up with. With the technical ability section right at the end, I will just show you my video. So if you want to skip ahead, then I won't be offended. If you think it's good and you want to come back and watch me describe my creative process and take you through that, that's also awesome. So we'll start with creativity.
What's up, y'all? Jake here.
So the timing of this challenge was perfect because I'd been documenting CrossFit Eikestad's progress through the qualification for the CrossFit Games. But the challenge in making a video about CrossFit is how intense the workouts are when you do them yourself.
Run for your life.
But when you just film it, if you put a camera on a tripod and you film it, it's actually incredibly boring to watch. So the creative challenge is in recreating that sensation of intensity and chaos. And the way in which I did that was to adopt Jacob Owens' technique of shooting images and then using those to create that sort of chaos. Now, one thing that I want to point out is this was very cool and I really enjoyed making it, but I want to show you what it looks like without the sound design. It really loses a layer of depth as soon as you take the sound away, and it's a really good example of how your cinematography and your sound design really work in tandem to create the feelings that you want to portray or recreate and showcase to the audience. Another important component of the creative process is embracing creative limitations. So I actually learned this from Robert McKee, and we will get to his writing later on in the story section of this video. But the idea is that embracing creative limitation inspires you to find creative solutions to your problems. So I experienced no limitation in terms of my music choice.
In 5 seconds, you can skip this ad or go to Artlist and find the perfect song for your video.
But I didn't download one song, I downloaded 60 songs and then chose 3 of those which matched the feeling of the 3 distinct components of my video. But in terms of sound effects, there was a creative limitation because I only had access to the 30 sound effects that were part of the sound effects gift pack made available by Artlist.
And you'll also get a free sound effects pack. You can use that for your video entry to this challenge.
And of those 30 sound effects, between 10 to 15 were suitable to the sort of style of video that I was going for. But if you take a look at my timeline, the yellow audio clips are the sound effects from the Artlist gift pack, and then the orange ones are sound effects which I created from those gift pack sound effects. So I would either reverse the sound effect, or I would change the speed, or I would mess around with the equalizer to give it sort of a high pass or a low pass filter. And in that way I could take, for example, the 3 whooshes that we were given and create 12 different whooshes and then use those throughout my edit or layer them to create greater depth in my sound design, and in doing so avoid the monotony of using the same sound effects over and over again. So embracing the creative limitation, it's a good principle because it inspires you to find creative solutions to your problems.
Cycling is made out of suffering and reward. Like a lot of time you climb and then you go downhill, you climb and then you go downhill.
So in terms of story, I was tremendously inspired by Danny Gewirtz, and I wanted to emulate his approach to creating the cycling film in taking my 1 minute and creating 3 distinct moments or 3 distinct sort of feelings. So I wanted to start off with chaos and intensity. In the middle, I wanted to have sort of the chilled, happy-go-lucky, easygoing part of CrossFit and the CrossFit community, and then I wanted to end on a high note. So the way in which you can accomplish that is the tone of the music and then the sound design, obviously, to create the intensity in the sort of like chaotic moments. But just because you've got that emotive flow going through your video doesn't necessarily mean that you've got a story. you need two distinct components before you've got a story.
You think about giving up, but you just don't. I never thought I was gonna be into cycling. To be honest, I used to think cyclists look funny.
So I learned this from Robert McKee, and it's been tremendously helpful in thinking about how to construct stories. You need to have a main character or protagonist. In this case, this is our team or our team members.
Mickey and the gang coming back at you now from the clubhouse, just stroking a still mighty oaks.
And they need to have two components. They need to want something, and there needs to be obstacles in their way. So initially I didn't shoot interviews. I was editing my video and realized that there was no way for me to portray their desires, what they want, and their obstacles without shooting interviews. And again, inspired by Danny Gevirtz. So I went, shot 50 minutes worth of interviews, and then trimmed that down to 5 clips.
Open and quarterfinals, even though we've won both of those, don't mean anything.
The desire that I identified in and through these interview clips and tried to convey was that the team wants to go to the CrossFit Games. The obstacle is the fact that they're the best team in Africa right now. They won the quarterfinals, but that doesn't mean that the work is done. There's still a whole bunch of obstacles and a lot of hard work in their sort of like in the path ahead leading up to the CrossFit Games. So that's how I constructed my story.
We just love each other.
Finally, the technical competence section. So I'm not going to talk about my own technical competence. You can judge that for yourself. Practice makes perfect when it comes to videos. You really just have to go shoot, edit, repeat. And I'm going to show you 3 versions of my video so that you can reverse engineer it if you feel like doing it. I'll show you the final version, which is just the edit with the music. I'll show you one without the music so that you can listen to the sound design. And then I will actually show you one right at the end where you've got the timeline and the video, and then you can see sort of those distinct beats, have a look at what my sound design looks like, and then you can reverse engineer that if you feel like it.
It's a great feeling to know that, yes, we smashed the quarterfinal.
It's like we haven't achieved it yet.
Open and quarterfinals, even though we've won both of those, don't mean anything. For us, CrossFit's very serious, but it's also a lot of fun.
We just love each other.
Unreal. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, that's the goals of CrossFit Games, and that's our team.
It's a great feeling to know that, yes, we smashed the quarterfinal.
It's like we haven't achieved it yet.
Open and quarterfinals, even though we've won both of those, don't mean anything. For us, CrossFit's very serious, but it's also a lot of fun.
I was at the beach too.
We just love each other.
Unreal. You know it. Thanks, buddy. So yeah, that's the goals of CrossFit Games, and that's our team.
It's a great feeling to know that, yes, we smashed the quarterfinal.
It's like we haven't achieved it yet.
Open and quarterfinals, even though we've won both of those, don't mean anything.
For us, CrossFit's very serious, but it's also a lot of fun.
I was at the beach.
We just love each other.
Unreal. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, that's the goals of CrossFit Games, and that's our team.
If you are still here, I'm assuming you are probably a filmmaker or someone interested in making films. Just realize that this is it's not a sort of smooth linear process. Maybe I made it sound like it is smooth and linear and everything is just happy-go-lucky. It's a lot of hard work. I had more than 500 video clips, downloaded 60 songs, I had 50 minutes worth of interview footage and more than 1,000 images, and all of that was sort of funneled into a 1-minute video. And for the most part during the editing process, I felt like what I was doing was just terrible and it sucked, and I felt like I sucked. So if you do commit to making this kind of video, or if you do commit to filmmaking, just realize that it's like you can take heart and in a weird way be encouraged by the fact that it's really difficult, and for the most part you're going to feel like you don't know what you're doing, but you really just have to see the process through to the end. It's kind of the only advice that I can give you, and slowly over time you will see how you get better at it. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you to my patrons who are making it possible for me to journey on this road to becoming a full-time filmmaker, and then I hope you enjoyed the edit. Just as a little side note in parting, for everyone that voted on Instagram for my next video to be about the 7 habits of highly effective people, I shot that video. I know this was supposed to be that video, but the Artless Challenge sort of took precedence. So I will edit that video hopefully within a week. Most likely I'll see you in 2 weeks time with the 7 habits of highly effective people. Cool, hope you have an awesome day. Bye. What was that? Bye.